Another step in recovery tonight. The Federal Environmental Protection Agency announcing that a nearly 10-year-old emergency order on the city of Flint's drinking water standards has been lifted. And joining us now is Flint Mayor Sheldon Neeley to talk a little bit about, first of all, what does this mean? What should city residents know about what this lift means?
Well, the lift means that we're no longer under an emergency, that we've done all things necessary to be able to achieve a standard under our Environmental Protection Agencies, EGLE, and the EPA of the federal government to be able to be lifted out of this emergency. So it doesn't mean that we stop, right? We're going to continue to build upon the infrastructure, but definitely we had to bring up the quality and level of our infrastructure to support a good, clean water source inside the city of Flint. And we've achieved that, and I'm just so very, very proud of the hardworking men and women. But now we still have to restore a level of trust that's been eroded.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's got to be hard for residents to trust. If, you know, so many of them still afraid to drink the water, afraid to trust the state or the federal government. I mean, how do they start to trust the water and trust the standards again?
Well, I deeply understand this. As a born and raised here in this community, my family's here, my neighbors and friends. We understand what the mistrust is, and so the only thing we can do now is continue to build, to restore a level of confidence. But the quality of water, the most tested, the most monitored water source in America, we continue to pass the levels of testing. We will continue to pass out filters in our system to make sure people have what they need. But we've assured that no one ever has to drink from the Flint River water again. We've built and constructed and completed a secondary water delivery system, state of the art. We completed all these things under a high visible microscope. You know, the whole world was looking at this and the tragedy, the man-made tragedy that caused this. And it was a crisis. And we're working and we're going to continue to build, but today was a monumental answer for all America and all the world to see that if we can do it and rebuild our system, that other cities and states can rebuild their system to be able to.
Because there's other Flints out there.
Absolutely, there's out there, but definitely we are leading the way and making sure we restore the infrastructure to be able to support health, life, safety, and welfare.
Did something specifically change, Mayor Neeley? Because I know we're saying like, okay, 97% of the pipes have been replaced, but that number's kind of been the same for a while now. Did something just change this week that made them lift this, or what happened?
But they've been watching and monitoring for a very long time, and so we've been on a good track for the last 6 years that we've been there, making sure we pass the standardization of making sure we follow the lead copper rule. No amount of lead in water is safe. But, you know, by the state standard and federal standard, less than 15 parts per billion has been acceptable. In our last testing cycles, we would have 1 part per billion in our water, 3 parts per billion, way under. And if you look at it, bottled water doesn't even have those level of quality assurities. We've been doing that and monitoring and making sure that residents and like thinkers, we continue to move forward. It comes on the heels of another good week, census reports saying that Flint's population is growing. And so people understand that we are on a good track, and this really refortifies what we've been doing with our water infrastructure inside the city of Flint.
Let's talk about what else we need for that track. We need the settlement money to be paid out. People are waiting. I know you wrote a letter trying to urge them to pay the people who've been waiting, the victims of this crisis. What kind of response did you get, and how soon can we start to see some of those payouts?
Yeah, I'm so happy that you asked that question, because the misnomer out there is that the city of Flint controls those dollars. The city of Flint was a defendant. We put $20 million into the settlement total, rising more than $650 million, not including interest. The federal government manages those dollars, and the federal government has to work on dispersing those dollars. People have to fill out the documentations and the forms to be able to try to get that done. I am pushing for those dollars to be released to Flint residents. I want those dollars to be released because it will help with the recovery.
Yes.
And so we're pushing very hard. But people believe that the city of Flint controls that. We do not. It's the federal government and a special master. The response has been that they're still working, and we're going to be trying to assist them in expediting, trying to figure out where people are.
Locating some people. Getting signatures.
Getting signatures. And also I'm going to be advocating that at this time, probably more than $45 million of interest has been accrued on that money, and I want the residents of the city of Flint to receive those dollars. I'm advocating.
Add that to the settlement.
Add that to the settlement amount. And I want to know, to get an itemization sheet, who has been paid, and where's that money been going that for those who've been paid. We know that some Legionnaire victims have been, lawyers have been paid, but there's others out there that have been paid, and we're asking, I sent a resolution asking for us to give us itemization so people know where those dollars went to. It's our pain. and people should not be profiting off the pain of the residents of the city of Flint. So we're advocating and pushing very strongly for that, and hopefully and prayerfully that we'll be able to get some resolve to that. And today, with the announcement from the EPA, the quality of our drinking water is high, and we're going to continue to build on where we are. We're leading the state of Michigan and not the country in this effort. And so we're going to continue to work hard, but we want people to stay engaged and stay focused. And we will rebuild confidence once we start clearing the air of all the noise and start to pay attention about what's going on and the reality of where we are.
All right, we appreciate your time, Mayor Neeley, for coming in. Thank you, and thank you for writing the letter. And people deserve that money. They've been waiting a long time.
Absolutely, and we're thriving for it.
All right, thank you.